Hello.
Hi, friends! A little more chipper than I was the last episode. That last one was rough.
Yeah, this one's a little more...
I mean, it's easier to stomach.
Yeah.
We're adding, this is another installation of our haunted states, and we are doing Arkansas. So we're still talking about death, but it's not gross and gruesome like the last one.
I don't know if that article is actually true, because I can't access it without paying for it.
Something popped up on her phone, and it was very shocking. We're not going to talk about it, though.
Yeah. Bye, little cat.
Hey, bye, sweetness.
So, yeah, we're Spoopy, Arkansas.
Arkansas. I wonder if residents of Arkansas hate it when
Probably.
people say that.
But, I mean, why is it called Kansas and not Arkansas?
Tomato, potato.
Anyway, we're here. I almost said we're queer. We're here. We're giving you spooky stuff, even though we just went through like spooky. This is a spooky podcast. Let's be honest.
Right.
We just need to like make it spookier during the spooky season.
It's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do. I just want to tell you that your hair looks fantastic right now.
Thank you. I started sleeping with a silk bonnet.
Oh, look at you.
Because the black girls on TikTok said I can do that. Because it's for all hair textures.
Oh, okay.
And my hair has been incredibly dry and crispy. And since I started using that...
Do you have it wet when you go to bed?
Sometimes. Because it helps, it makes my curls look better.
Okay, but let me ask this. If you sleep with it wet in a silk bonnet, does that not set you up for like...
No, it wasn't. It was lightly moist when I put it in the bonnet.
Why do you... That's twice in the last 15 minutes that you've used that word.
Because I know you don't like it.
Rude.
But yeah, it was just slightly damp. It was like almost dry.
I go to bed with my hair soaking wet 90% of the time.
Oh yeah, me too. But that's like if I'm not wearing the bonnet.
But my hair is quite crispy lately.
Also, I think it's just the weather change, honestly.
Well, I'm also trying to find the right shampoo to use because all of a sudden my scalp hates anything that's not tea tree oil. Like within the past 6 months, like it started back in August-ish, where I like my scalp itches so bad that it almost feels like I have lice or some shit.
Yeah.
It is so bad. Like I've had paranoia struck in and I had like 5 or 6 people check my hair for lice. I was like, are you sure? Like TJ checked it. My mom checked it. I had one of the soccer moms that I'm friends with check it. Maddie checked it. I'm like, are we sure there's nothing there? I was about to treat it anyway.
Yeah. See, I just don't like the smell of tea tree oil. I think it's foul.
It doesn't bother me, but it's like my scalp just hurts. It just hurts, and it itches so bad sometimes.
I swapped to one of the Aussie ones.
That's what I was using when it started this. So now I'm using Not Your Mother's Naturals. Something with like sea kelp and coconut water.
I like Not Your Mother's. That's what I use the kinky curls.
I use the beach waves
stuff.
The sea salt spray, texturizing spray.
It does. I
also use the dry shampoo.
Yeah, I use that fancy brand, the one that starts with a B of dry shampoo.
Know.
But if you spray that like within like you know how you normally would like hold it just like a few inches away from your face. If you hold it you gotta hold it way out there. Otherwise, your head's gonna be white.
Yeah. See, I'm new. I realized that dry shampoo has been a thing for a very, very, very long time. Yeah. But I'm new to that game. And I am forever changed because of it. Because, like, if my scalp is just not itching, like, absolutely crazy and I can stand it for another day or two, I will go like a week without washing my hair.
Oh, yeah,
now I'm showering
so nice.
every day.
Right.
But I'm going to not wash my hair every time.
Right.
It's fantastic.
I see, it's not good to wash your hair every day anyway, because it does dry your scalp out and stuff.
But I was the world's worst about using the old school, like, baby powder and the hairbrush to try and soak up the oil.
Yeah, I've done that. I think
that's all I've ever done. My mom taught me to do that when I was younger.
Yeah.
But, like, Maddie likes to make fun of me and tell me that it makes me look like grandma because it turns my hair white. But
tell her to mind her own business.
Have you met her? She's a Pisces. She doesn't know what minding your own business means.
Fair enough.
Anyways, so we ready to get in this?
Yeah, I reckon.
I'll go first.
Okay.
The first one I have, I think we're going to go back and forth on these.
Yeah.
First one I have is Henderson State Henderson State University in Arkadelphia. I was like,
that sounds made up. Arkadelphia.
I know it does, doesn't it? So this one, back in the day when Henderson State was a Methodist college, a boy who attended school here met and fell in love with a young woman from Washita Baptist University that was right across the street. The young man's friends convinced him that the relationship would fail because they went to different schools and they had differing religions. So, like the difference between Methodist and Baptist, which I don't see as a differing religion. It's just different ways of worshiping the same religion.
Yeah, it's a different sect.
Denomination.
Yeah.
Eventually, he broke it off with that poor girl. She later found out that he was taking a new girl to homecoming, and then she unalived herself. Aww. Now, annually during the homecoming time frame, her shadowy figure can be seen searching the women's dorms at Henderson State looking for the girl who took her love. Aww. Students here call her the Black Lady. Reports state that she began making regular visits.
Anything better than that?
Right. Reports state that she began making regular visits around 1929. She's known to roam the halls with a candle, and of all things, is super original. Super original.
Right.
Which makes me believe that that's not fully true. She's roaming the halls with a candle and rattling chains.
Yeah.
She would chase female students around Womack Hall when it was used as dorms, but Smith Hall... Hold on. I messed this all up. She would chase female students around Womack Hall when it was used as dorms, but Smith Hall, that has only been used as female dorms since the 1970s, is her favorite place to be. The story has reached such normal conversation that it is told each year to the freshmen every fall on the first day of class.
Oh my gosh.
They're told that they have nothing to worry about as long as they aren't the man stealer.
Oh.
That's all I got for that one.
So the King Opera House... The story goes that Charles Tolson, an actor, had run away with the daughter of a local doctor whom he had fallen in love with. The doctor, who had found out about this, had rushed to the depot on horse and buggy and was able to intercept departure. He then proceeded to beat Tolson to death with a horsewhip. But according to the director of A&P Commission in Van Buren, Merrill Purvis, this story is definitely not true. So what the actual story is Charles Tolson was the owner of the Tolson Stock Company, which was a traveling acting troupe. His wife was Lorena Tolson, who was an actress and the mother to their son Franz. Tolson was a well-respected and locally famous actor in the area. On September 3rd, 1903, Tolson Stock Company was just finishing up their week-long engagements at the King Opera House in Van Buren. Tolson had retired to the Collins Hotel with family prior to waking up to travel to the Frisco Depot for a train departing for Fort Smith. Tolson and his troupe of 11 actors arrived at the depot at 7:45 a.m., and Tolson left his troupe to purchase tickets for the train. Abe Tibbets, who had been hired to carry their luggage, had stood with Tolson at the ticket counter. Dr. Parchman, who had been waiting inside the depot in the waiting room, had stepped outside and called Tolson's name. Some witnesses reported that Parchman never spoke to Tolson. As Tolson had turned around, Parchman pulled a .44 caliber revolver out of his pocket and fired a shot that missed Tolson. As he turned to run from the gunfire, another shot struck Tolson in the back, just above his hip. I can tell that I wrote this after taking a gummy. The force of the gunshot to his back then forced Tolson to spin and face Parchman, who then fired one more shot at Tolson's chest. Fortunately, the bullet made contact with a watch in Tolson's pocket, but the impact forced him to the ground. It was reported that after firing the shots, Parchman turned and quietly walked away. Tolson was placed on the train that was arriving to Fort Smith, and he was admitted to Bell Point Hospital in Fort Smith, where the next day he succumbed to his wounds. Yeah, I wrote, this is how I can tell. Where the next day he succumbed to his wounds the next day. This was about the point where I was like, I should hang it up.
You didn't get very far into it at all.
No. Upon his death, Tolson declared that he had only given Allie, which was the daughter of Dr. Parchman, good advice, and he was considering Dr. Parchman as a good friend, as good a friend as he had in Van Buren. Parchman had shot Tolson that morning on suspicion that he was taking away his 17-year-old daughter, Allie. He received this information the night before the shooting from a vinegar salesman named C.G. Murray.
A vinegar salesman?
A vinegar salesman.
That's a profession.
That's specific. There is no proof that Tolson was running away with Allie, and she wasn't even at the depot on the morning of the shooting. She and Tolson knew each other, but there isn't anything that points to any inappropriate things that may have taken place on Tolson's part. Purvis said, "What we discovered was that Allie was a typical 17-year-old girl with a very overbearing father. She saw an opportunity to get away, and I'm sure she had an attraction to Charles Tolson, but she really just saw an opportunity to get out of a small town." According to notes found in her purse, Allie may have been planning to run away with the troop, but none of it came to fruition. The lead actor for Tolson Stock Company, J.C. Godley, told newspapers that Allie had become stage-struck, and Tolson had told her that she needed to stop hanging around and go home where she belonged. In her research, Purvis says that Murray himself may have had an interest in Allie. Several accounts reported to newspapers during that time said that Murray had less than honorable intentions with Allie and was jealous of her attention to Tolson. Allegedly, he had said to Allie that his wife was an invalid, which I know that that's a very outdated term, but that was what... I don't know what else to call it in this context. But she was an invalid in a Louisiana nursing home, and upon her passing, he wanted to marry her. Purvis believes that once he saw that Allie had an attraction to Tolson and his troop, he manufactured the story to make sure that Allie didn't leave. After shooting Tolson, Parchman made his way home and contacted Sheriff Jim Pitcock to tell him what he had done, and a warrant was issued for the arrest of Parchman on the charge of assault with intent to kill, and was admitted to jail with his bail set for $1,000. What are you doing? Come here. There was plenty of evidence to convict him, but he was very well respected in the state of Arkansas, Purvis said. He hired a dream team of attorneys to represent him, because of course he did. The trial began on June 24th, 1904. Several of the key witnesses were missing, including Murray and Allie, who had left Van Buren immediately after the shooting. According to a report from the Van Buren Argus, lead attorney Colonel Oscar Miles presented the case of defense, briefly dwelling on the different degrees of murder and how justifiable the murder would be. And how justifiable was the murder would be his defense. His closing argument referred to Tolson as the would-be destroyer of Parchman's daughter's purity. Closing statements as published in the Fort Smith News Record. In the event of an assault, he had no right to expect to get off with his life. Numbers were against him, and criminal experience was his adversary. He hesitated not. placing upon the sacrificial altar the accumulation of a lifetime, his home association, his liberty, his very life. He went forward to the discharge of his duty, calmly, coolly, without wavering or hesitation. Not as a murderer skulking in the nighttime to consummate an assassination, but rather as a good citizen, feeling and knowing the supporting and protecting care of the law. Which, personally, those are definitely all words. But, like, put together like that, I don't know that they make much sense.
Those are definitely all words.
After 2 ballots, the first vote being 10 for acquittal and 2 for guilty, the second vote found the defendant not guilty by reason of self-defense. And Purvis said, so he got away with murder. After the trial, Tolson's wife continued traveling with the acting troupe and was remarried a year after the shooting. Allie was sent to live with a family member in Missouri and never returned to Van Buren. And not much is known about her life after the shooting, but she did marry in 1907 and is buried in Corpus Christi, Texas. Parchman was able to live out a quiet life after the murder, and according to Purvis, he received little sympathy from the community, many of whom were outspoken in condemning him. Tolson was buried in the Oak Cemetery in Fort Smith, and today it is said that the ghost of... I'm finally getting to the ghost. Today it is said that the ghost of Tolson remains at the King Opera House. Current manager of the King Opera House, Bill Ratcliffe, has stated that he will hear sounds when no one else is in the building. You'll hear things fall outside my office, and you'll see nothing has fallen. Ratcliffe showed THV 11, which was my source, an area below the stage where some folks have reported experiencing ghostly encounters. They reported not seeing Mr. Tolson or any other spirits, but the building did give off an eerie feeling with ominous handprints on mirrors and creaky stairs. Ratcliffe added that when he comes and goes every day, he makes sure to acknowledge those who have graced the stage before him. When I lock up in the evening and I get ready to turn the lights off, I will say, "Charles, take care of the place. I'll see you tomorrow," he stated. Others have reported seeing a young man dressed in a top hat and coat floating on the stage, and it is believed to be the specter of Tolson himself. Enough of that.
All right. My next one is the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs. This resort hotel was built in the 1800s. It was a girls' college in the 1920s and became a somewhat controversial cancer hospital / health resort where quote-unquote Dr. Norman Baker, not Bacon, Baker.
Are you thinking about bacon?
Claimed to have the cure for cancer in the 1930s and is host to many hauntings. It was named as America's most haunted hotel by the likes of ghost hunters, and you guessed it, our pal Zach from Ghost Adventures. Most notably,
Bestie.
not. Most notably, the ghost of a young Irish stonemason, Michael, who worked on the building of the hotel in 1885. Story says that he fell from the roof and died in the second floor area. It is said that he plays tricks with the lights and TV in room 218. He's also been reported as pounding loudly from inside the walls.
Oh, hell no.
That would just... I'm in this room and something from inside the walls starts pounding, I'm done.
Yeah.
We out. Other spirits here include a nurse dressed in white on the 3rd floor, a gentleman in Victorian clothing in the lobby at the bottom of the stairs, and at the lobby bar, and the confused spirit of Dr. Baker himself. What is wrong with me?
Well, it's both of us. I think it's getting too late. We've read too much.
Right. The charlatan, who ran the hospital in the 30s has been spotted in the old recreation room at the foot of the first floor stairway. And at the foot of the first floor stairway. There have also been sightings in rooms 202 and 424. A cancer patient by the name of Theodora is said to be seen fumbling for her keys outside of room 419, as well as tidying up for guests when they leave the room. Again, if I have to have a ghost, let it be one that likes to clean.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice.
Right.
My house got real nasty this week while we were busy.
A 4-year-old child that is now referred to as Brecky, as she was the child of Richard and Mary Breckenridge Thompson, who died at the hotel due to complications from appendicitis, can be seen in the hotel bouncing a ball. Room 212 is the home to Dr. John Fremont Ellis, who was the hotel's in-house doc in the late 19th century. He can be seen, or his cherry pipe tobacco can be smelled. Mm. This room was once his office. The room 212 was once his office. My favorite of all the sightings that I read, and you're going to love this, is the one of Morris. Morris is the famed hotel cat, or better known as hotel general manager for 21 years.
Aww.
He was buried on property and is regularly seen and heard.
I feel
Heard.
like I've heard about this before.
I mean, it was on Ghost Adventures and...
I ain't never watched Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Hunters.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm just a Zach Baggins hater over here.
Right.
I ain't never seen that show. What are you talking about?
This hotel in and of itself is absolutely gorgeous. My next story is my favorite.
Hold on, I'm looking up Morris the cat. Oh, look at him.
I didn't have
My
any
gosh.
pictures of him.
There's a picture of him in sunglasses and a bow tie.
I can't see.
Look at this. Can you see?
Oh, he's an orange cat,
Yeah,
too.
he's a little orange kitty.
Orange cats are my favorite.
Anyway.
Orange cats and black cats. They're my favorites. Gray ones are alright. That's what's wrong with Willow, is the little bit of orange she's got in her.
It's diluted, but it's there.
That's what's wrong with it.
Yeah. A little...
She got that orange cat
I guess so. That's why I keep telling Danny, I was like, I kind of want an orange cat. And he goes, what do you think Willow is? He was like, that's all the energy of an orange cat. He's like, you want to have 2 of those? I was like, yeah. Why not?
They're fun.
Yeah. Why not have more cats?
Right.
I already got kitty litter all over the house.
I'm here for it.
So, whatever. So, my next story, the rest of my stories, I promise, mostly focus on the ghosts. So, the Phantom Caboose of Northwest Arkansas.
I love a good Phantom Caboose.
Right. So, this one's real short and sweet. So, for decades, stories of a caboose barreling down the tracks with no engine in sight in Springdale, Fayetteville, Lowell, and Rogers have been prevalent. The stories first surfaced in hobo camps during the Great Depression, and with sightings increasing across the Ozarks, many locals have sworn that the folk tale was in fact true. The tale has continued, and no one has ever been able to find a natural explanation for how this caboose could move with no source of power. The Phantom Caboose has been spotted running north and south from the depot in Springdale. And not only have folks reported the caboose, but others have reported unexplained lights and noises on the tracks all over the area. Ta-da!
Ta-da! Alright, this next one, it's my favorite. The Folk Monster in Folk, Arkansas. A 6 to 7 foot tall humanoid creature covered in hair. So picture Sasquatch.
Yeah, but shorter.
Yeah. Gained national attention when it harassed 2 families living outside of this town. The foul-smelling monster killed chickens, rabbits, and hogs and mauled many dogs. In May of 1971...
This just sounds like my ex-husband. You're welcome.
Imagine him listening to
Oh,
this.
God. In that case, no, it doesn't sound like you at all. Oh, Lord. Proceed. I'm sorry I interrupted. It was the way that I leaned in and whispered it.
Right after the foul smelling monster. Oh, my stomach hurts now. Okay.
Reel it in.
The foul-smelling monster killed chickens, rabbits. I already did all that. All right, anyway. In May of 1971, Bobby Ford reported to Folk Constable that he was attacked at his house by a hairy creature that breathed heavily, had red eyes, and moved very fast. I can't catch my breath.
I was going to say, you had me in the first half. I was going to say, okay, and...
And then it was very fast.
It was the moving quickly where I was like, never mind, can't be him.
He stated that it was about 3 feet across the chest, and it put its arm around his shoulder and grabbed him. Ford managed to get free and ran so fast that he didn't even stop to open the front door. He just busted right through it. Damn. He stated that he and other witnesses, including his brother and hunting companion, had been seeing the creature around his house for several days. Ford's wife claimed that while she was sleeping in the front room, she saw a hairy arm with claws come in the window. First of all, you were sleeping.
Why didn't you mention this to anybody?
Why? You were sleeping.
Yeah, you probably dreamed it. I had a dream that my mom was sex trafficked the other night, so...
That's not funny. That's
not funny. I don't know if it was sex trafficked, but she was definitely trafficked. Because somebody was on the front porch. She went to the front door, and it was peeped out, and then they just snatched her and took off with her. And I was and I didn't bother looking for her because I was she's been trafficked. Why? I'm never gonna find her. I gotta stop. We'll never get through this episode.
I closed my Teams and I need it so bad right now. Anyway, she also reported that I lost my spot. She also reported seeing red eyes. Ford said that on the night of the attack, he and a couple of hunting companions saw the creature at the back of his house with the help of a flashlight. They shot at it and thought that they saw it drop. As they started toward it, they heard the group of women inside the house scream, and Bobby ran back to the house. That's when he was attacked. The creature was shot several times, but no blood was ever found. In fact, the only thing that was found was a set of strange tracks and claw scratches on Ford's porch. The family moved out of that house, a house that they had only owned for not even a week.
Oh my God.
A film, The Legend of Boggy Creek, directed by an Arkansas native in 1973, told the story of the folk monster and was played in all 50 states. It was a drive-in sensation that netted nearly $25 million during its run.
Oh my gosh, and when was this?
73.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. It is said to roam the networks of creeks extending from the Sulphur River bottoms in southern Arkansas to the small town of Folk. There have been countless sightings by tourists, folk natives, experienced hunters, famous musicians, and even law enforcement officers. To this day, people are still reporting encounters. TV documentaries such as Monsters and Mysteries in America, Finding Bigfoot, Mysteries at the Museum, Monster Quest, Lost Tapes, and Weird Travels have also had episodes on this situation. I also watched a YouTube video, and I didn't link it because I didn't have anything come out of that for this part, but there's a whole... Folk is very small. Mm-hmm. Imagine from what I could tell, imagine our town 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's quite small.
But there's like a store that somebody has opened where it's got like evidence and stuff that people have found, like
footprint cast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just random things that people have found, pictures, drawings, all kinds of stuff that tells all the things about it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can buy some souvenirs too while you're there.
It's a pretty cool deal. I was pretty excited to see this story. But that's all I got for that one.
The haunted courthouse in Fort Smith. Fort Smith's most famous judge, Isaac C. Parker, died in 1896, but he remains an active member of the paranormal community. Ooh. During his 21 years on the federal bench, Parker sentenced 160 people to death by hanging, with only... Because the source I used was like, only 79 people of those ultimately were hanged. And I'm like, only.
Right.
Still a lot. It should really be no surprise that Parker remains at this site. A former employee described her interaction with the ghosts at the courthouse of Fort Smith. She told the authors of Supernatural Arkansas that she was about to turn the lights off in the courtroom when she heard voices behind her. The voices became louder and she heard the slam of a gavel. She said this was when a mist spread around the courtroom and she could hear men yelling and a woman crying.
Oh.
She then described seeing a partial apparition of a man in dusty clothes being dragged away by two other men with badges. She said she heard the gavel once more and the mist disappeared and the courtroom was silent once more. The Fort Smith Museum of History, which is home to the original furniture of the courtroom, has also... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. My screen just went black and my computer froze.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay, we're back. Okay.
And we're back. Action.
Let me get back because it scrolled right on down for me. Okay. So the Fort Smith Museum of History is home to the original furniture of the courtroom during the time that Parker was the judge. And they have also had some spooky experiences over the years. A group of paranormal researchers placed recorders near some of the old furniture from Parker's courtroom, and museum director Lisa Gramlich said that they made a frightening discovery. I heard this on what they recorded. It was like 3 bangs, like a gavel. It was the hammering of a gavel, said Gamlich. The gallows that remain at this historic site are also home to some rumors of ghosts. There are times when visitors have said they've seen the ropes moving with no wind whatsoever. What could be considered one of the more frightening stories came from the groundskeeper at the Fort Smith National Cemetery where Parker and his wife were buried. He says, on a cold December night in the book Supernatural Arkansas, on a cold December night in 1998, a groundskeeper had an experience that left him shaken to the core. And in the narrative of their book, they said the groundskeeper stated that he was on his way to retrieve some tools at dusk, or as dusk was approaching. The authors of the book say that this particular groundskeeper had worked in cemeteries for years and wasn't normally fearful of his surroundings. But on that night, he heard a strange noise that kept repeating. As he approached it, he realized the noise was footsteps crunching in the crisp winter grass. He went on to say that he felt like he was being followed. After retrieving his tools, he said that he turned on the flashlight and he swung around, and in the beam of the flashlight there was an old man. The man stood there looking back at him. The authors continued on to say that the groundskeeper realized that he could see through the man who stood before him. He had white hair and a white beard and was wearing an old black suit. This was when the groundskeeper asked the man what he wanted, at which time he started to move his mouth, but no sound was coming from his lips.
Ew.
Yeah. After this, the groundskeeper took off, dropping the flashlight and leaving quickly in his car. He would go on to describe the man as Judge Parker based on the images he had seen of him during his many trips to the Fort Smith Museum.
I got chills.
Okay.
This next one I have is very, very short. I wasn't able to find a whole lot on this one, really anything. Mm-hmm. This is Captain Mull's house in Hollygrove. This house that originally stood in St. Petersburg, Florida, was moved to Hollygrove by a retired sea captain. He lived there with a Native American girl that he was in love with. She passed away. When she passed away, he had her body embalmed and placed in a glass casket that he kept in the house. When he died in 1935, the girl was then placed in a local body garden. Sometimes you can hear the sounds of the Native American woman playing the piano in the deserted house. So I just found that one interesting because it was just a little different.
Yeah.
But that's all I have for that one. I couldn't even find a picture of it. Like, there was literally nothing. It was just in that book.
Yeah. The Clayton House, which is in Fort Smith again. Dating back centuries, the Clayton House in downtown Fort Smith was first built in 1852 and once served as a hospital for soldiers during the Civil War. The most notable owner of the property was William Clayton, who was an attorney appointed to the Western District by President Ulysses S. Grant in 1874. But today there are rumors that the house might be haunted. There is a bedroom on the second floor that many have reported gives them a creepy feeling. And there have also been reports of what sounds like boots stomping, doors slamming, and music coming from other areas of the house. A former director said that she even saw the ghost of a woman in Mr. Clayton's study. I saw an apparition of a woman in Mr. Clayton's study one day. She was dressed in a brown skirt and linen shirt and had gray hair which was piled in a bun on top of her head, said Martha Seiler. Visitors have said that they have felt like they were touched when no one else was around, and one woman reported having her hair pulled. Some paranormal investigators have managed to capture recordings of voices in the background of the home, but I don't know what those voices said or anything like that. So that's where the story left off.
The next one I have, how many more do you have?
I just have one.
Okay. Highway 365 off of I-530. This also, the pictures of this road, creepy. This stretch of road that in and of itself would creep you out if there was no lore to it at all, is covered in trees, giving it an almost dark tunnel look on a 2-lane road.
Ooh, I love that kind of look.
Right. There are several stories that have circulated about this stretch.
Get it together.
I keep feeling like I've inhaled cat hair.
You probably have around here. You better not get me sick.
I'm not sick. There are several stories that have circulated about this stretch of asphalt. One story states that a motorcyclist took a corner too quickly and went down and died there on the spot. Now, if you sit in that area on the side of the road and wait, you may be able to see an unexplainable bright light or bright headlight coming around the corner and then just disappearing. And I read that, like, you know, it's like a thing for the teenagers to do to spook friends or whatever. There were some stories of, like, they would have, like, a newcomer or whatever, and they would tell them the story to get them all freaked out and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And then they would go out there, and then somebody else would go on ahead and then turn around. And then once they get to their spot, they would start coming back and then just cut the headlights.
Yeah.
So, may not be true, but still weird. There are several versions of a vanishing hitchhiker legend that originate on the highways between Little Rock and surrounding areas. Someone will pick up a young girl hitchhiking, most usually on a rainy night, and then when they arrive at the house where the girl instructed them to go to, she would just disappear. When the freaked out driver would get out and knock on the door of the house, and then inform the owners of the house, hey, this person in the car told me to come here, they would say, the person would say, my child died.
Yeah.
It's the anniversary of their death.
I love those kind of urban legends.
She died in a car accident at the spot where you picked her up.
Yeah.
But there's been there's different versions of they would pick the woman up and then she would fall asleep in the car.
Yeah.
And then they would go knock on the door and say, hey, I've got your daughter in my car. She wanted to come here, but she fell asleep. Can you help me get her in?
Yeah.
Or, something along those lines.
Yeah. I like the one, there's one of, somebody picked up somebody or a woman she was standing on the side of the road or something, and, she gave him an address, and she fell asleep, and, the address took him to a cemetery.
Ew!
Yeah.
No.
And then, he looked, and he was like, hey, and then she's gone.
Nope. That reminds me...
we need to do an urban legends episode.
I know. That reminds me that one day forever ago, me and a friend of mine, Rachel, were driving around, and that cemetery that's up by my parents, we went through there, and as we were pulling through, I might have said this on one of the personal experiences, but as we were driving through, because it circles around.
Yeah.
The first part of it, we drove through once, and I'm like, I can't do it, because that was back when that big bush was there toward the end.
Yeah, that bush isn't there anymore.
I'm like, I'm done with it. So we go to leave, and she's like, I'm, being told that we need to turn around and go back. Mm-hmm. The name Alan keeps popping up in my brain. We need to turn around and go back. And I'm like, I'm not going back. And she's like, no, I really feel like you need to go back. So when we do go back, we pull in, and almost within the first, I would say, 20 yards of that driveway, there was a headstone with the name Alan on it. Big letters on the headstone, Alan. Yeah. And the second we got past it and we saw it, she was like, we're back. He was gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not okay.
Right, that's freaky.
Yeah. But that's all I got for that one.
Alright, so my last one is the Cane Hill hauntings. So Cane Hill is home to one of the state of Arkansas's first colleges, as well as a Civil War skirmish and a host of other historical events, including a murder. So the Washington County town was rocked by the murder of William Carter Wright and 4 of his children. According to David Ellis, it was about 1839, and it happened south of town, I believe, in the area behind the mill. Mr. Wright was reputed to keep a large amount of money at his house, and some people broke in, killed Mr. Wright and several of his children. Wright's wife and other children managed to escape, and a group of prominent community members formed the Cane Hill Independent Regulating Company in order to find the killers. There was really no law in the area at that time. They took it into their own hands, said Ellis. 3 men were eventually arrested and, without an official trial, sentenced to die. 1 man confessed, but the other 2 remained steadfast in their innocence. All 3 were hung by the regulators, but years later 2 other men confessed to the crime, but it is unclear if the right men were ever punished. Arkansas Historic Preservation Program employee Shelley Stormo says that ever since then, ghost stories have been popping up around Cane Hill. Drivers have reported that their cars will stall as they drive through town, and one woman says she saw a man hanging by the neck from a front porch. She thought he had committed suicide, but when the woman went to help, the man disappeared before her eyes. Ellis said that he has never seen any spirits, but contends to being a skeptic. He said he also stayed at the Crescent Hotel and didn't experience anything. His neighbor, Anna Bailey, on the other hand, who lives on the McClellan homestead where Wright's wife ran for help way back in 1839, says her house is full of them. There seems to be one that kind of takes care of things for us, like turns burners down in the kitchen if something's going to burn. They used to bury the servants over there in the woods, and I had a renter that saw a little boy playing over there in the woods where they were allegedly buried. She said that she has never had any trouble, but believes that her supernatural roommates are just another part of the history of Cane Hill. Anna went on to say, so many generations of the McClellan family lived here and died here. They're just tied to this spot, kind of like to look out after it. And that was the end of my Cane Hill tale.
All right, so I've got two more. This next one is the old Allen house in Monticello. And we'll post pictures of this house because it's absolutely gorgeous. But this gorgeous Gothic Victorian style house was built in 1900 by Joe Lee Allen. He was a prosperous Delta farmer. It is said to be haunted by Liddell Allen, one of his daughters. She unalived herself on Christmas Day, 1948, by drinking cyanide. She died 8 days later. The room that she died in was sealed off by her mother and not opened for decades. Upon the reopening, the new owners found a cyanide bottle on the shelf in the closet. The current owners, as current as 2019, Mark and Rebecca Spencer, found 90 letters telling of a secret relationship that sparked the suicide along with a bottle of rum. In the 1950s, the house was converted into apartments. Many of the tenants reported hauntings. It was reported that you would be able to see a woman standing in the window of that closed-off room. One couple, this one's weird, one couple trapped a phantom in a closet and struggled to shut the door as the ghost giggled at them.
Oh!
A photograph was taken by a doctor that was living there of the dead girl's reflection in a mirror. It is said that the book, Scent of Lilac by Carolyn Wilson, was based off of her experience while living there. Law enforcement have been called to the apartments on multiple cases to check out claims of prowlers on the upper floors, but no living person has ever been found when they're called. The owners have refused to allow parapsychologists to set up monitoring systems in the house, like ever.
Wow.
Which, don't blame them. Am I wrong, though?
No.
And some of the pictures I've included, they've got the letters that they found in the closet posted on their walls.
Gotcha. So those will end up on our Facebook page.
Yeah. And the last one I have, this one was, there's a lot of college stories that come out of Arkansas.
Yeah.
This one was kind of, I found this one to be very interesting, and this one was the one I was writing as I was going back and forth in the mom group chat that I was telling you about earlier. Alright, so this one is Harding College in Searcy. The ghost of a young woman can be heard playing the piano in the music building. She was a student of music at the college in the 1930s. She met a young man who she fell madly in love with. Sadly, the boy was killed in a car accident. She spent several hours expressing her grief while playing the piano on the third floor. She died before the end of that same semester of unknown causes. They believe that she, grieved herself to death. Years later, the old music building was demolished and replaced with a more modern structure, and yet people on the second floor would report hearing piano music coming from above them, even though there was no longer a third floor.
Oh.
Another story told is that of Gertie Sue. She was a student attending Galloway Women's College, which was on the grounds where Harding is now. One night, she left her room and fell down an elevator shaft in Gauden Hall and died. Galloway College merged with Hendrix College in Conway, and Harding College, which at the time was in Morrilton, bought the Galloway campus. Gauden Hall was torn down. When they built the music building for Harding, they built it a mere 300 yards from where Galloway stood. They even used some of the same bricks from Galloway to make like a brick pathway.
Oh no. Doing that.
Right. She is seen dressed in white lace following the path of the old bricks to the music building. One account of this haunting I found was from a former student. He said that he and some friends locked themselves into a recording booth of the music room to see what would happen. Nothing happened until 1 a.m. Footsteps were heard, and then they recorded sounds that accompanied. There was no explanation to what those noises could have been. And I couldn't find anything that, like, played. Because I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But anyone who has ever listened to that tape can't tell you what those noises were.
That's weird.
Yeah. So, that's all I got.
Wow.
I just wanted to share during this spooky situation. So we've discussed that in the room that we're recording in.
Yeah.
That you have... Do I want to say this out loud?
What?
What I sent you the Teams message
sure.
about? Okay. She has like several, tchotchkes and stuff.
Several. That's an understatement. I look like a hoarder.
There is one particular doll.
Yeah.
On top of one of the bookshelves.
Yeah. Never gets messed with.
Ain't nothing in here ever gets messed with, especially that high up.
And you say that, but like every time you come here, something's different.
Well, I mean, something new has been added, but rarely anything's moved.
That's true.
This one particular thing has moved, and
yeah, he looks more slumped over.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. I'll have to get up there and fix him and tell him to sit still.
I don't like it.
It's a howdy doody doll.
Oh.
He ain't got no boots on. No, he's got his boots. They're sewn to his feet, but he doesn't have a hat anymore. He belonged to my granny, so that's why I kept him.
He looks sad.
He probably is sad.
Right.
I think she had two of him. She had one that was in the box in pristine condition, and she donated him to when we had Stratton Restaurant.
Yeah,
she donated it. Like, he was the one that was in the case in the front.
I can get behind that donation, but at first I was like, why?
But this one was like the ratty little one that was like left, and I was like, I kind of want that. Does anybody else want that? And everybody's like, hell no, we don't want that.
Also, I just noticed that you have 2 books on your shelf.
Yeah.
From a particular
creator that has had some accusations against her.
Why are we still... Did you get those from McKay's?
I did at one point.
The last time that we went?
No. I've had those for a while. I just pulled them out so that I can do something with them.
Donate them to... Not donate, but take them back to
I'll
McKay's?
probably throw them in a box and donate them to the Veterans Association, whatever.
They don't want that shit.
They just ship that stuff to random thrift stores. So
they don't want that shit.
Somebody don't want that shit.
Book burning.
Hey, I ain't doing that.
You should have taken that to that preacher in Mount Juliet when he had his book burning situation.
That's okay. Like, this is witchcraft. Throw it in there and then leave. So I've got the nonprofit for the week. And I asked my sister to pick one because the day that this episode's going out is her birthday. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ellie!
Dirty 30.
Ooh, she old.
Yeah, I know. And I never got one from her, so I picked one. And it's called Best Friends.
Aww.
Back in 1984, A scrappy group of friends from far corners of the globe settled in a remote area of Utah's high desert and took the first steps to forever changing the future for pets in shelters. It's the story of best friends, but it's much more than the history of a spot on the map. This group of ordinary but passionate people believed that every pet has a story, each one worth saving, each life individual and important. Today, nearly 4 decades after they broke ground for a sanctuary in a remote region of the Southwest, achieving no kill across the entire country is just within reach. So what they're wanting to end like kill shelters.
Yeah.
Which I think is nice.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even like aggressive animals that aren't adoptable can go to like a sanctuary like this and have like their own little life.
Right.
And they wouldn't have to be with other animals. So
I like it.
And there is I don't have a link to donate, but there is a clickable donate button at the top right of their website, and it's like a PayPal donation button.
I like it. Good pick, Allie.
Yeah, good pick.
Happy birthday.
Allie, a.k.a. I did all the work. Allie.
What do you mean?
She didn't send me that. I had to pick one.
Oh.
But I picked one I thought she would like, so.
Well. Should have donated. Is there a nonprofit for people who have worked for the Dollar Tree?
And talk about it too much?
That need therapy.
She, even back then in those episodes, she goes, they're always listening. They might hear this podcast.
Right.
I was like,
no, what she really
that's creepy.
What she really needs is like rehab for Monster Energy abusers.
I think she drinks the zero sugar one now.
And
I'm
I mean, I can't say anything because I too drink an energy drink a day.
I don't like energy drinks.
I
don't drink coffee, nothing.
I have very certain ones that I like, and I can't.
Look at you. You're so cute.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I say that, but like, I've got to have my sweet nectar. My, Coke Zeros.
Oh, gross. Somebody brought those to the Halloween party and left them. And I was like, let me try and drink these. And like, it was okay until the aftertaste hit. Little cat.
She got a lot to say.
It's because you're like forcing her to let you love her.
She wanted up here. She asked for this.
She did not ask for you to hold her.
She did.
See? She's
Little cat interview. Little cat, what do you think about it? You like ghosts?
No.
Do you think this house is haunted?
Yeah.
What do you think about the food service here?
Shit. She doesn't feed me a whole thing of soups.
What do you think? What do you think about Willow?
Bitch.
I'll let our interview sitter go. Surprisingly, this episode is an hour long.
Oh. Look at us killing it. How did we ever do 30-minute episodes?
I have no idea. But we're here. And we're going.
Follow us on the socials, things like Facebook,
Instagram,
TikTok,
X.
I'll let you have that one. I almost say Twitter every time.
A lot of people still do say Twitter.
Wow.
Some will say or X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah. Email us at wandersofweird@gmail.com.
Oh yeah. That was a good one.
Hey, your Cousin It doll, pop vinyl, I read that to say Cousin Tit.
It does kind of look like Tit. I also realized when I put them up there, they're out of order. Because there's an order? Walgreens, yeah, they're numbered. So the Walgreens Uncle Fester should be on the end.
I didn't realize that they were numbered for a reason.
Yeah.
I thought that it was like...
Some of them, it doesn't really make sense.
Well, I thought that just... Because I've noticed that they all have numbers on them, but I thought it was like the number, like, when they made that doll, that was the 813th doll that they've made of that kind.
No. I don't know how they come up with these numberings. I think it's because, like, it's the different series. So, like, if it's, like, television, so, like, the Golden Girls are 326, 327, 28, and then 329. And then, like, the Addams Family starts at 809 and then runs to 814. But then there's, like, the special ones. And, like, it doesn't really make... Because, like, Gomez, the Chase one, is still 810. But the special edition Walgreens exclusive Uncle Fester with the light bulb in his mouth is 817. So I don't know what's 15 and 16.
You have two 810s up there. Is there a difference?
The second one is the Chase. It's the one with the sticker on the front.
Is that all the difference?
I don't know what the difference is. Hold on. I didn't.
Y'all are getting a Funko Pop.
Yeah.
Education here. See, but like, okay, you were saying the Golden Girls start with a 3 and they're like a TV series.
Yeah.
But then we've also got the Supernaturals, like Sam, Dean, Castiel. Those are all 93, 94, 95.
Yeah. But then you've got Crowley,
who's 200.
Yeah. And Charlie, who's 176.
Is Charlie the hot redhead?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, my internet has been really slow the past few days. They're working on the lines, so...
I've yet to switch over to the good stuff yet. I need to.
Well, it's been slow, I'll go ahead and tell you. Omara, why don't you do that into the mic?
That's gross.
She's over here licking.
What's that?
Anyway, I don't know what the difference is. Nothing will load for me. So, I think there's like some sort of variation, or it's like a color difference or something, usually. So, but yeah, the Chase are like really hard to get. And a lot of the times, like, if you order off of Amazon, you could be ordering the regular one, but sometimes you can be sent to Chase.
Nice.
But yeah, so.
Well, who are we telling this week?
Oh, I don't know. I closed that out.
The Starbucks barista.
Yeah.
Because everybody loves a good Starbucks. I say everybody, not everybody.
Most people.
I love a good Starbucks.
It depends on what it is.
Gemma's a Starbucks snob.
I don't know. I'm partial to Dunkin' Donuts.
I don't like the Dunkin'.
I saw a video. Oh, it was the newest episode of the Shane Dawson podcast. Have you watched that?
Watched it yet.
So they got this Dunkin' drink, and it's like a frozen pumpkin spice latte. Like, I don't know. It's got more sugar in it than a liter or a 2 liter of soda. For a large, yeah. It's got, like, if you were to, like, pour the sugar into a large cup, it would fill the entire bottom of what's in that.
I think the last time I went, I got a nice pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah, well, this is, like, the frozen one. And it's got, like, a bunch of other stuff added to it. Because I usually get, like, a medium or a small iced caramel craze latte. It's pretty good. I treat myself to it once in a while. And I always get a little snack and bacon. This way I can put it on top of my bagel, because that's delicious. But I used to do that daily, and I hardly do it anymore. I've done it like once in the past 6 months.
Nice.
Look
at you.
Down almost 30 pounds.
Look at you. I found it because I don't eat. Either that or I have days where I just can't.
I have to eat because that shot I'm on, if I don't, my sugar will bottom out. I almost passed out the other day because I was in my guest bedroom, which is all Harry Potter themed, and I was like putting some stuff away, and I had like moved some stuff around, and like I got up on the step stool to hang up the last picture I needed to hang up, and I'm like putting the screws in, and I get the picture up, and then like all of a sudden I'm like sweating, but I'm cold, and I'm like, I feel woozy, and I was like, I got to sit down, but I also need to go like get something.
Right.
So I sit down a minute, and then I go and I usually drink like the 0 sugar Gatorades.
Yeah.
But we had some full sugar Powerades in there. And so I grabbed one of those and downed it and ate a handful of semi-sweet chocolate chips. And then sat down for a good, like, 20 minutes, and then I was good. But, like, my hands were shaking. Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah.
And then, like, 2 days later, I was telling Danny about it. I was like, yeah, the other day I almost passed out in the guest bedroom, and I was, like, standing on the step stool. He goes, what? And I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't tell you about that?
Lord. All right, guys. Well, send us your spooky stories.
Yeah, send us episode suggestions, anything you want to hear.
Don't forget, we've got that Amazon wish list out there.
It's getting close to Christmas time.
Also, our
bless
anniversary.
Us. Yeah, it's our 1 year anniversary.
So send us an anniversary present. Or a Christmas present.
# blessed.
And my birthday. # blessed. And my birthday's in December.
You better not get anything. I didn't get anything.
First of all, don't be a hater.
I was born a hater. Gonna die a hater.
All right.
Thank you. It's like our Lord and Savior Taylor Swift says.
Not our Lord and Savior.
Haters gonna hate. Bye.